everyone, what's going well? Welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be part 1 of my Know Yourself series where I explore different tools designed to encourage self-reflection and build self-awareness. First on the list is the Meyers Briggs Type Indicator, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically a personality test. It's designed to identify our strengths, our preferences, and how we perceive the world and make decisions. There are 16 personality types based off of extroversion, introversion, thinking and feeling, sensing, intuition, and judging and perceiving. I remember at the start of my self-improvement journey about 8 or 9 years ago, I actually took the 16 personalities test, which you may be familiar with because I know it was super popular at one point. And that test basically evolved from the Myers-Briggs. So I've never taken the Myers-Briggs because you have to pay for it, and the 16 personalities test was free. So this time I'm going to pay for it, and I'm going to see if I have the same personality type as I did 9 years ago. I believe I tested as INFJ, which stands for introversion, intuition, feeling, and judging, which I can get more into depth about what those mean later on in the video. But I remember when I did take that test all those years ago, I felt it was so spot on. So I am curious to see if my results will be the same. But before I start, I again want to emphasize that this is simply a tool to help self-reflect. It is not dogma, meaning it is not law. It is not the absolute truth. Our personalities are fluid and malleable, and we are way too complex to be put in a box. But I still feel like it's a great tool to start your journey of self-improvement if you haven't yet, or if you don't know where to start. I know back when I took it, it really helped me in my journey. But yeah, okay, let's do this. I have my laptop in front of me right here. You can't see it, but I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully I can screen record on the website. I did have to purchase it, so I don't know how strict it is with sharing my screen, but I will try to put it in the video so you guys can kind of see the format, and I will also voice the questions out loud. Yeah, just so we're all on the same page and you get an idea of how it goes. Again, you can't see that I'm on my laptop, but it's here. And I'm looking at it. It's funny because I actually have a table, my laptop, my notes, my mic, and a whole entire sound box containing my mic and a pop filter, and you can't see any of that. It's pretty cool. It's pretty funny. Who cares, right? Who cares? Okay. So on the site it says you're about to take the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator assessment. Start assessment. Let go. Tell us about yourself. Country of residence, the US, baby. Which of the following reasons best describes why you're completing this assessment? Education, because I am a student of life and I am always learning. What is your ethnic origin? Oh my gosh. It's too difficult, so I'm just going to say prefer to... Oh wait, self-describe. Ugh. Everything. Okay, finally. You are about to take the MBTI assessment. Here are a few things to keep in mind. Begin assessment. Which response comes closer to describing how you usually feel or act? Okay, so when you go somewhere for the day, would you rather plan what you will do and when, or just go? I think plan. If you were a teacher, would you rather teach fact courses or courses involving theory? Ooh, courses involving theory. Are you usually a good mixer or rather quiet and reserved? Oh, I can be both, but quiet and reserved because I like to observe people and my environments. Yeah. Do you usually get along with imaginative people or realistic people? Definitely imaginative people. Do you more often let your heart rule your head or your head rule your heart? Heart rule my head for sure. When you are with a group of people, would you rather join in the talk of the group or talk individually with people you know well? Oh, I like both. Like, if it's a group thing and everybody's kind of like talking or interested in the same topic and we're kind of just expanding our ideas, definitely a group thing. But I don't know, I feel like lately not everybody's into the same things that I'm into, so probably individually with people I know well, because the people I know well, I know are into the same things I'm into. Difficult. Do you prefer to do many things on the spur of the moment or according to your plans? I know before I said I like to plan, but also I can be very spur of the moment. Spur of the moment, I think. Would you rather be considered a practical person or an ingenious person? Yes. Okay. In a large group, do you more often introduce others or get introduced? I feel like I usually get introduced. Are you more attracted to a person with a quick and brilliant mind or a practical person with a lot of common sense? Damn. It's kind of hard because I appreciate people with common sense, but I also obviously appreciate people with brilliant minds because I can be expanded by them. But which one am I more attracted to? Probably people with common sense because they're more relatable in that way. Does following a schedule appeal to you or cramp you? Oh, appeal to me. I love scheduling because I do work full-time and I do have to schedule to make time for YouTube and hang out socially with my friends or family. It makes life so much easier. So schedule appeals to me, yeah. Would you say it generally takes others a lot of time to get to know you or little time to get to know you? Depends on who you are. Does the idea of making a list of what you should get done over the weekend appeal to you or leave you cold? Definitely appeal to me. I'm always texting myself lists of things to get done. Is it a higher compliment to be called a person of real feeling or a consistently reasonable person? Definitely a person of real feeling. I love being considered an authentic, genuine person. Because I think I am. Do you tend to spend a lot of time by yourself or with others? By myself. Okay. Oh my Jesus. 143 questions. I'm probably gonna cut out some of these just so it's not a super long video. Would you rather have as a friend someone who is always coming up with new ideas or has both feet on the ground? Oh, I love both, but I love grounded energy because it just gives you a solid foundation to work with rather than people who are always coming up with new ideas, because even though it's inspiring and fun, it's hard because maybe those type of people don't always stick with the original idea that they came up with because they're always on to the next thing. They're like, oh, what about this? Oh, what about this? And there's no grounding to like actually work with an idea that they came up with, if that makes sense. It makes sense to me because I personally know both type of people and I prefer people who have both feet on the ground. Yeah. When you have a special job to do you like to organize it carefully before you start or find out what is necessary as you go along? Obviously, I love organization, but also with organizing everything before you start, I feel like that kind of leans into like the perfectionist mentality, which is something I am trying to grow out of. So with YouTube, I've tried to start YouTube so many times in the past 5 years, and it wasn't until I kind of just gave up on trying to organize everything perfect to plan and just started and kind of just wing it week by week about the topics I want to talk about and just, learning as I go. I feel like it works better for me because it allows me to move. So I think find out what is necessary as you go along, I think, is preferable to me. Are you inclined to value sentiment more than logic or value logic more than sentiment? I love both. Because things always have to make sense to me, even though I'm so drawn to the mysteries of the world and like even like the paranormal and like the big questions about life. I also value logic because even the mysteries of the world make logical sense to me in my mind within the grand scheme of things and like how life works, if that makes sense. Probably sentiment though. I think sentiment more. In reading for pleasure, do you enjoy odd or original ways of saying things, or like writers to say exactly what they mean? I like to enjoy odd or original ways of saying things. Can the new people you meet tell what you're interested in right away or only after they really get to know you? I would hope that they could tell right away. I mean, I'm trying to make it appear, you know, with my YouTube presence, I'm trying to make it clear, like, what I'm into right away. I'm just going to say right away. Even though, obviously, actually, only after they really get to know you. This is hard. I'm just going to say only after they really get to know you, because people who don't know of, like, my YouTube presence, because obviously I don't have a big following, and it does take a bit of work for me to like just let people into my life and into my personal business. So I'm going to say only after they really get to know me. Would most people say you are a private person or a very open person? I can definitely be a very open person if people care. Like, I don't have to hide a lot. Like, if you ask me things, I will be upfront with you and I won't try to dodge your questions most of the time. So I'll just say a very open person because I don't see the value in being a private person. I like to share things about myself and like what I know, and obviously like if people are interested, like I'm open to sharing. So yeah. Which word in each pair appeals to you more? Think about what the words mean, not how they look or sound. Scheduled, unplanned. I love both because sometimes I really do appreciate just going with the flow because, I don't know, it's just not everything goes according to plan even if you plan it. You know what I mean? So it's better to just kind of go with things. I'll just say unplanned. I feel like I'm so back and forth with that, with the questions, but also I'm a Libra moon, so I always can see both sides. Convincing, touching, statement, concept, analyze, sympathize, both. I love analyzing and I love sympathizing. Oh, I'm an analyzer. Reserved, talkative, I'm reserved. Compassion, foresight, oh, I love foresight. Quiet, outgoing, quiet. Idea, actuality, idea. Strong-willed, tender-hearted. Both. Fair-minded, caring. Huh? What? The site can't be reached? The hell? Oh my god, I better not have lost my place. No internet? So, guess what, guys? My laptop, I don't know, the Wi-Fi keeps cutting in and out. But I was able to log in on my phone, not using my Wi-Fi, and it saved my spot. So that's cool. So I'm just going to screen record on my phone and continue. Imaginative, realistic, imaginative, competent, kind-hearted. Kind-hearted. Theory, fact. Theory. Few friends, lots of friends. Few friends. Possibilities, certainties. Possibilities for sure. I'm a very idealistic person. peacemaker, unusual, customary, unusual, changing, permanent, changing for sure. When making a decision, is it important to you to weigh the facts or consider people's feelings and opinions? Definitely consider people's feelings and opinions. Do you generally prefer to make your social engagements some distance ahead or be free to do things on the spur of the moment? Definitely spur of the moment, because even if I plan things ahead, depending on how I feel will depend on if I follow through with those things. Unless it's like a creative thing, and obviously I have to be more scheduled and punctual. Because usually my social engagements consist of creating with other people, so. But if it's just like a purely social thing, where we're just hanging out, definitely spur of the moment works for me. Even though that's harder to do as we age an adult. All right, I'm gonna shut up now. At parties, do you sometimes get bored or always have fun? Ooh, depends on who is at the party. At parties, do you do much of the talking or let others do most of the talking? Definitely let others do most of the talking. I like to listen to people and, again, observe. Do you consider yourself to be more of a spontaneous person or more of an organized person? Again, they keep asking this same question, but in like different ways. I'll just say more of an organized person. In social situations, do you generally find it difficult to start and maintain a conversation with some people, or easy to talk to most people for long periods of time? I feel like I'm really bad at small talk and maintaining conversation if that other person doesn't know how to have conversation either. So, probably difficult. Do you think you get more enthusiastic about things than the average person, or less enthusiastic about things than the average person? Definitely less enthusiastic, but I do appreciate people who are more enthusiastic about things. Is it your habit to confide in nobody, or at most in one person, or have a number of confidential friends? I definitely wouldn't agree with confiding in nobody. I'm so thankful that my fiance, like Renee, and I have like my best friend Kai, and have other close friends, but like those are my mains, and yeah, I'll just have a number of confidential friends, but it's still a low number because I don't confide into everybody. Only the people that really know, understand, and love me, and where I feel not judged and I feel heard and seen by them. So, yeah. When you have a suggestion that ought to be made at a meeting, do you stand up and make it as a matter of course or hesitate to do so? I feel like when I was younger, I would have so much anxiety, like when it came to contributing ideas or, I don't know, just like presenting or like bringing up things. But the older I've gotten, and definitely in work settings, I'm not afraid to like say what needs to be said. So, but it probably will depend on like how comfortable I am about, the conversation or like whatever we're talking about. I feel like I've healed a lot of like anxiety when it comes to like giving my suggestions to things. And also doing YouTube has healed so much more like anxiety about talking about things. Yeah. Does it sound more attractive to you to live systematically or very fully at the expense of a little chaos? I don't like chaos. I appreciate people who can live fully and don't have to live systematically. But again, I'm a Capricorn. I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart. And that will be the next video, part 2, that we're gonna explore another tool, astrology. But it's more attractive to live fully, but I love to live with a lot of grounded energy still. I don't know. I'll just say systematically. Can you talk easily to almost anyone for as long as you have to, or find a lot to say only to certain people or under certain conditions? In planning a trip, would you prefer to most of the time do whatever you feel like that day, or know ahead of time what you'll be doing most days? When planning a trip, I feel like if I'm in an unknown territory, I think I'd rather plan, because if I'm there for a limited amount of time, I think it's just easier to kind of plan out what I would be doing. Among your friends, are you one of the last to hear what is going on, or full of news about everybody? I always keep to myself, and I usually find out through other friends, like the news of what's going on with other people. So definitely one of the last to hear what's going on. Is it higher praise to say someone has vision or common sense? Vision. That's like one of my top praises that I could give to somebody, because I myself feel like I have a pretty good like vision of things, just like aesthetically or like artistically or whatever. So when I compliment somebody by saying like, oh, that person has a vision, like I mean it. I'm like, that person is top notch, like has a vision. Do you tend to have deep friendships with very few people, or broad friendships with many different people? Deep friendships, for sure. I'm almost done, guys. Do you prefer to think about a matter by talking it over with someone, or mulling it over in your mind? Talking it over with my best friend or my fiance. Oh my gosh, 3 more questions. Okay. Do you usually value sentiment more than logic, or value logic more than sentiment? I literally already answered that. I'll say sentiment more than logic, even though maybe I chose the other one before. I don't know. When you are with a group of your friends, why can't I read? I'm skipping words, or I'm like saying words that aren't there. I'm antsy. I want to get this done. Been recording for a while now. Okay, when you are with a group of your good friends, do you do more than your share of the talking, or do less than your share of the talking? Probably less. In any of the ordinary emergencies of everyday life, do you prefer to take orders and be helpful, or give orders and be responsible? It depends, but ordinary emergencies of everyday life, I think I'd rather be helpful. Done. Okay. You have completed your assessment. Click done to submit your answers for processing. Okay, we are done. Let's see. Waiting for my results. Oh, continue. You've just completed the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. People are different. Personality type, as revealed through the MBTI assessment, gives you a framework for understanding and appreciating these differences. Learning about the natural differences between people will help you understand and appreciate your own behavior, including your strengths, values, and motives, understand and appreciate others' behavior, recognize why you get along better with some people than others, and realize why you prefer one kind of job to another. Personality type is made up of 4 elements. Each element is made up of 2 opposite ways of being. You have a natural preference for one of the 2 opposites in each element. Your preferences are represented by 4 letters that act as a kind of shorthand designation. Your 4 preferences combine and interact to form your whole personality type. Okay, the AC just kicked on, so sorry if the sound is not as clear or great, but it's hot, so. Okay, so the way you direct and receive energy, you direct your energy toward the outside world and get energized by interacting with people and taking action, so that's extroversion, or your inner world and get energized by reflecting on your ideas and experiences, and that's introversion. The way you take in information, that is real and tangible and focus mainly on what you perceive using your five senses, or by seeing the big picture and focus mainly on the patterns and interrelationships that you perceive. So it's sensing or intuition. The way you make decisions and come to conclusions, you base your conclusions on logic, the accuracy and objective truth about the primary goals, or personal and social values. So that's thinking or feeling. The way you approach the outside world, you approach the world with decisiveness and tend to like planning and closure, which is judging, or flexibility and tend to like spontaneity and openness, which is perceiving. So each of the opposites is equally valuable. There's no good or bad, just as there were no right or wrong answers. So to illustrate, try this simple exercise. Write your first name in the space below with your mouse or finger. Now use the opposite hand to do the same thing. If you're like most people, this is probably not so simple. Use your opposite hand. So what they're saying is the four opposites you choose to use more, one in each element, are called your preferences. So to illustrate, try this simple exercise. So I used my right hand to write the first one, even though I kind of messed up. So my preferred hand is easier, takes little energy, can be done faster, feels natural, is comfortable, is automatic, can be done without thinking, and is more efficient. And when I use my opposite hand, it's harder, demands more energy, may get tiring, must be done more slowly, feels a bit awkward, feels somewhat clumsy, requires conscious attention, and is less efficient. So most people use both hands all the time to type, eat, play sports, play a musical instrument, etc. With practice, you can learn to use your non-preferred hand better, and the more you practice, the better you'll get. But most people, even those who are ambidextrous, prefer one hand over the other. They prefer and use more often the one they are comfortable with, the one that feels more natural. The same thing is true of the opposites in each of the four elements of your personality type. So that makes sense. You can and do use both of the opposites. One is more natural and comfortable for you. One tends to produce better results. That is the one you prefer, use more often, and you usually use more effectively. And then this just breaks down the letters that stand for each of those opposites that we kind of went through. And then it lists out the 16 different possible personality types that I have mentioned before. Again, I said before I tested as INFJ. So this chart kind of just breaks down like all of the different combinations. They're really thorough. I appreciate that. But also I'm just trying to see what I tested as, you know? Trying to get to the point. So they ask, how do you prefer to take in information? Does sensing or intuition more accurately describe your preference? Remember you can and do use both sensing and intuition at different times and in different situations, but one probably feels more comfortable and comes more naturally to you. So as you can see, like when I was answering the questions, I could see myself doing both, and we do both, but what comes more naturally? So I think intuition, people who prefer intuition tend to take in information by seeing the big picture. I've always considered myself to be a big picture thinker. They focus mainly on the patterns and interrelationships they perceive. So based off your understanding of thinking and feeling, how do you prefer to make decisions and come to conclusions? So again, feeling. People who prefer feeling typically base their decisions and conclusions on personal and social values and understanding and harmony, the primary goals. Oh, okay, so I didn't notice this before, but below the choice I'm given to select the preferred box, it's comparing my results. So the answer to the questions on the assessment show that I'm very likely to prefer F. This is illustrated in the graph below. Okay. Yeah, and I think prior to that, it showed that I was very likely to use intuition. So far, I am an INF. So I feel like I'm on the right track to testing the same as I did 9 years ago as an INFJ. Sorry if I'm all over the place. I've never taken the Myers-Briggs, and I wasn't aware that it was going to show me like all of this information, which I enjoy, but also I'm like, I've been sitting here for a long time and I'm really uncomfortable and hot and sweaty, and I just want to get through this. So yeah, introversion. People who prefer introversion tend to direct their energy toward their own inner world and get energized by reflecting on their ideas and experiences. So yeah, comparing my results from the MBTI, I was very likely to prefer introversion. So I've been knowing this about myself. That's one of the first things I've always known about myself. Cool. So, based on your understanding of judging and perceiving, how do you prefer to approach the outside world? Does judging or perceiving more accurately describe you? People who prefer judging typically approach the world with decisiveness and tend to like planning. People who prefer perceiving typically approach the world with flexibility and tend to like spontaneity and openness. I feel like I've chosen both options like throughout the assessment. I feel like because I've tried to grow out of my perfectionism, which is like sticking to the plan. I've become more open to perceiving, so like be open and spontaneous and go with the flow. But obviously I also like planning. That's interesting. Okay, so I think I am now an INFP, even though, okay, that's interesting. So your answers to the questions on the MBTI assessment show that you're very likely to prefer P. So naturally, I think I've always leaned towards decisiveness and planning, and I'm still very much that way, but because I am trying to challenge my inner perfectionist, I'm more open and willing now than I was 9 years ago to being more open and go with the flow. And yeah, that's interesting. See, here I am. I'm self-reflecting. I'm understanding the change that I have gone through. So it depends. Again, like this says, I can and I do both of these. So I feel like in actuality, I'm like 50-50 on this. I feel like I fluctuate between INFJ and INFP, just depending on the circumstances. So choose only one, consider your selection carefully, and feel free to review any of the sections in this learning session to help you decide. INFJ is original, conscientious, it's a hard word, organized, decisive, and committed to their firm values, have a clear vision about how to serve humanity, are quietly forceful in working toward their vision, seek meaning, and want to understand what motivates others. INFP is idealistic, quiet, curious, adaptable, and flexible, are committed to their values and loyal to people who are important to them, are quick to see new possibilities and can be catalysts for new ideas, seek to understand others and help them reach their potential. I'm like all of this, but what am I more of? See, I appreciate this tool, but again, it's like so hard to put yourself in a box. I actually think I'm more of an INFP. I've changed, guys. I've actually changed. I obviously still relate to INFJ, but I feel now I've grown into a much more adaptable and flexible version of myself. Congratulations! I'm an INFP now. Screenshot. Wow. It is interesting just to see that change and to see me identify more now as an INFP, because it just goes to show personality types are malleable, are fluid, and yeah, it's interesting. if you haven't taken the free version of this, the 16 personalities test to get your personality type, again, you can take that. But I'm really happy that I took the Myers-Briggs this time and paid for it. I'm going to explore that a little more. Again, sorry if I was reading too fast or if this seemed a little messy. I've never taken the Myers-Briggs, and I honestly was not prepared for how thorough it was going to be. Yeah, it's like way more thorough, way longer than the 16 personalities. I think when I took the 16 personalities, that was 20 minutes long. This one was close to like an hour, also because I was having difficulties with my Wi-Fi, so it just took longer. Let me know, comment down below what you guys thought. Let me know if you've taken the 16 personalities or if you end up doing the Myers-Briggs. And comment down below what your personality type is. I'm very interested to know. And just give me your thoughts on the personality assessment in general, and if you think it's a good tool for self-reflection. I feel like I just did a ton of self-reflection, so that was super interesting, and I'm probably going to continue to reflect on that. All right, until next time, bye.